recording. Okay, glad you guys could join me, and I'm sure there's some others that'll jump on later, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's not a long presentation, and we left enough room in the back end for questions, things like that. So my name is Tamora Hughes. I'm the program director and the SBDC director at the Greater Inglewood CDC. And also I have with me Rhea Steele, one of our business advisors, and also, not sure if Ray's on, but also Ray Bacon is one of our business advisors as well. You'll see our information on the screen in case you need to reach out to us and contact us. So we will provide this information again at the end of this session. So today we're going to be talking about the Back to Business B2B grant program that was issued out by the Department of Commerce and Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunities. And so we're going to take you through that. It just opened up last week. So we're going to take you through the steps. And if you have any questions, we ask that you hold those questions to the end, and then we'll try to answer those or either refer you to the right source. We're going to go over the program overview and also the program details, and then we'll provide you information as it relates to getting technical assistance, just in case you need some additional help with technical assistance with the application. Let's see. Whoops. Okay, so the program overview, just in case some of you are not aware or didn't know, that the Back to Business, the B2B program, builds on success from the Business Interruption Grant, which was the big grant that was offered last year. The B2B grant, this program provides and includes up to $5,000 to $150,000 in grant funding, which is totaling up to about $250 million made available by the ARPA funds, and also up to $250,000 if you're a hotel. Okay, the ARPA funds through the federal government was signed into law on March 11, 2021. And the acronym means the American Rescue Plan Act, which provides $350 billion in additional funding than for our state and local governments. The application is a user-friendly online application portal, and we're going to kind of show you the screenshot of the portal, but it's fairly easy to navigate and get through. And also, we do have an expansive network of community navigators to assist you in submitting your application. The Greater Inglewood CDC is considered a spoke connected with our community advocator that is connected with List Chicago. So if you need some additional support, you can reach out and contact us in submitting your application. Some of the eligibility factors and key priorities related to the B2B is that eligible businesses include for-profit organizations and nonprofit entities with less than $20 million or less in annual revenue in 2019 that experienced losses in 2020 due to COVID-19. Okay, so just to let you know that these fundings are for those businesses that were existing but experienced loss due to COVID-19. Okay, so they will be asking you for your 2019 and your 2020 taxes so that they can then calculate your possible award funding. The 20 million cap is analyzed from your business that started after January 2019, okay? And 35 million is for hotels, okay? So the grant size will range again from 5,000 to 150,000 and up to 250,000 for hotels, and will be equal to the difference between the 2019 revenues and the 2020, as I stated. They're going to take those, divide them by 6, round them up to the nearest multiple of 5,000. So that's kind of looking at 2 months worth of average year-over-year revenue decline. The priorities will be given to applicants that did not receive emergency relief, are located in DIAs or disproportionately impacted areas, have less than 5 million in annual revenue, and are in a priority industry. So these are the priorities. So it does not mean that you cannot apply. It's just that they're going to look at these applications in order of priority. Okay. The priority industries, there's a list below that we will share with you for the Back to Business grants. And they specifically have definitions as relates to eligibility guidelines, which you can go onto the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity website. There is a document called Eligible Guidelines, and you can review those in detail. The priority industries are hotels, restaurants that did not receive RRF, which is Restaurant Revitalization Fund, art organizations or businesses that did not receive SVOG, which is the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant, clothing, accessory, or electronic retail establishments, including those that are commerce. Okay, hold on one second. All right. Dry cleaners, home health care services, child care providers that did not receive CCRG, which is Child Care Restoration Grant, barber shops or salons, indoor recreation, gym or fitness centers, tourism or group transportation, including taxis, limos, or rideshare, spectator and social event support services, museum or movie theater operators that did not receive SVOG, which again is the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant. These set-aside funding allocations, at least 40% of the funds, or $100 million, will go to businesses located in those DIAs, okay, those disproportionately areas. Also, at least 25 million will go to businesses that applied for the BIG, which is the Business Interruption Grant, but did not receive a grant due to the funds running out. At least 80 million will go to a set-aside hard-hit industry continuing to face ongoing hardship. 25 million for hotels, 25 million for restaurants that did not receive the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which is the RRF award, and 30 million for arts organizations and businesses. Last week on August 18th, the link was activated on the DCEO website, which can be found at www.illinois.gov/DCEO DCEO. Additional resources are also on this website right now. So you can find application questions and required documents. You can also find the eligibility guidelines, as I stated. You can find certification forms and eligible cost lists. You can find any upcoming additional webinars, and also you can find access to community navigators and business assistants. This is a snapshot of what the site looks like at the DCO website. You'll see this when you log on. You'll be able to see all of the things that are available, not just the Back to Business grant, but also the other things that are available through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. If you click on then Back to Business grant, if you click on this link here, it will take you straight to the site for filling out the application. If you click here for the community navigator, it will take you to other sources that are assisting small businesses. Okay. This is what the site looks like when you click on the link. So when you click on the link for the Back to Business program, the grant program, you will see this page. This is the page where you can either sign up or log on. If you logged in before, it will keep an account of your login and your status. If you've never signed up before, it will ask you information to create a user and user ID and a password. When you get into the application, these are some of the documents that you will need to have at hand. The requirement documents will be your business owner ID, which could be driver's license, state ID, passport, or any other kind of card that you have showing that you are a registered business. Then also the 2019 federal tax return and your 2020 federal tax return. You also will need one business bank statement from between April and December of 2020. It must be inclusive to reflect your business expenses. Also, you must have your most recent business bank statement. If the above documents do not reflect current business address, a document that has the current business address can be used like a utility bill, your lease or mortgage, your credit card statement, or your business license. Some of the features on the portal that you'll see, you can actually, applicants will have a designated login. As I stated, that you can save your application and come back. So if you don't get a chance to complete it, you save it, you can come back and continue where you left off. Applicants will be able to verify their application once it is received, and they can also check on the status. So once it's received, then you can go back to that portal to check to see the status of your application. The portal will handle notifications on your application in a more streamlined way throughout the whole program. Also, community navigators and DCEO frontline team will have access to your application to assist businesses. So once you submit it, then they will be able to review and also see your application if you have questions. Applicants will receive notification when their account is open, a week has passed since opening the account without completing the application. Application is completed, review results and change prioritization or an appeal. review results in ineligibility determination so that you can appeal, and also your grant award. Some of the frequently asked questions are: sole proprietors eligible to apply? Yes. Are businesses with ITINS, which is individual tax identification number, eligible to apply? Yes. Are nonprofits eligible to apply? Yes. Nonprofits that are 501c3, 501c6, and 501c19s are eligible to apply. What are eligible and ineligible uses of these funds? Grant funds can be used for a wide range of operational expenses, including rent, mortgages payments, payroll, inventory, insurance, and more. Expenses that have been or will be reimbursed under any other program backed by federal funds are not eligible. Can I apply for and receive B2B grant if I was open last year, but my business is now permanently closed? No, you cannot apply. Businesses that have taken any material steps to dissolve, permanently cease operation, or sell substantially all of their assets prior to receiving an award, even after submitting an application, are not eligible. Again, there is outreach and technical assistance available. We have our community navigators. There are 100 plus community-based organizations that are across the state of Illinois. As ourselves, we are part of the List Chicago Community Navigators, and we're one of the spokes at the Greater Englewood CDC and the Illinois Small Business Development Center CDC. There is a hotline in case you do have some urgent questions. You can contact DCEO on their First Stop hotline, which is 800-252-2923, or you can also email them at ceo.firststop@illinois.gov. Also, there are then the 42 small business development centers, SBDCs, like ourselves. So this has been the webinar. Are there any questions?
Tamara, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Ray.
Hi. I just, a point of clarification, okay? When we talk about the base, the 5,000 minimum base that could be awarded based upon the math associated with how much money you've lost, it says rounded up, okay? Rounded up means close to $5,000, right? In other words, let's say that I lost, between the math of 2019 and 2020, I lost, let's say $12,000, okay? That means I had $12,000 less income in 2019 than in 2020 than I did in 2019. If I divide that by 6, that's $2,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you talk about rounded up, does that mean that, well, the minimum award is $5,000. I lost money. Am I eligible for $5,000, or is it because I didn't have enough to be close to $5,000? I'm not entitled to get anything.
It's going to have to be the 5 or more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Tamara, I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that it's my 2020 income subtracted from my 2019 income. So for example, if I made $50,000 in 2019 and I made $20,000 in 2020, so I lost a net income of $30,000, and they would divide that by 6 to give me 2 months of income.
Right.
So then that would mean that, I guess, like you say, that I don't know if that would round it up, but it would round it up between, I guess, between the 5 and the 10,000, and they would take the higher number, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Chef, in your situation, if you lost $30,000, you divide by 6, then obviously the amount would be exactly 5.
No, I was just trying to get I was just using that as a base income, but I was just trying to see, that is like, I guess, 2,500 per month. So they're looking at giving you 2 months of whatever you lost.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think the
Excuse me,
point.
Ray. There's another question in the chat real quick. It says that if your company is not a priority, are your chances of getting a grant less?
Yeah, you can still submit the application and they will review it. The priority means that these are industries that they're looking at first. So if your industry is not a priority, you can still submit the application and they will review that, review your application. And if dollars are still available, then you may be considered for those dollars. So priority means those industries that we went through, that they're looking at as a first or a high priority. But if whatever business you have, and they have suggested, whatever business you have, even if you're sole entrepreneur, whatever you're doing, you're able to show your 2019, 2020 taxes, submit the information, and they will review your application. So don't just hold it and think you won't get anything. Submit it anyway, so then they can let you know if you're eligible or not eligible, or if you will be able to receive at least the 5,000. Okay, so that's the minimum. The floor is the 5,000.
May I ask a question tomorrow?
Yes.
This is Joy Stewart. How are you?
Hi, Joy.
Hi. Listen, I have a kind of unique situation. Technically, I made more money in 2020 than I did in 2019, but it was primarily because I had a lot of delayed billing. I had billed out to my client, but they didn't pay for 90 days. Okay, that was part of the reason. The other part is that the contracts got canceled, so I did not have any business for over 9 months in 2020. How does that work? How? In other words, I made about 25% more in terms of the actual amount of money that came in, but I had a loss of business. That's why I did qualify for the second draw, because I had a total loss of business for in excess of 9 months in 2020 and still remain currently without a contract. So how would I be able to position myself?
So you will still submit your application. You will be able to then put in your tax returns, and there is a place where you can give explanation, just like you've shared, of what happened, so that then they can evaluate the explanation, because basically in 2020, you kind of got reimbursed or kind of recouped some of the money that you were waiting for in 2019. So indicate that there is a place in your application where you can make note and explanation of your situation if your dollars seem to look like you made more money, you can make an explanation to indicate that you did not, but this is what happened. So they will review your explanations as well.
But is it that I am specifically requesting a particular amount, or how do I calculate what I would be eligible for under this program?
They're
So
going to
you-
calculate it based upon your returns. And so what they're going to do is then do that calculation based upon both of those returns. Go ahead, Rhea.
So Joy, I was just saying, so though you don't do the calculation for them, they will base it, as Tamora said, on the numbers in your tax return. But in your explanation, what would help, I think, based upon what you just said, is the specific numbers in there. You know, so you can show what revenues should have occurred in 2019, and do it that way, so they don't have to figure it out.
So in other words, the spreadsheet that I gave them for my PPP, which shows each and every month and what the reduction was.
So the actual form won't, the form, the question with information where you put that in, it won't let you upload a document. So you're gonna have to write that out.
Write that out. Okay, then I just make a reproduction of that. Because it
Yeah.
shows like month to month over 2019 and then over 2020. And where the total income dropped off after like April in 2020. Okay.
Yeah,
Got
you can
it.
put it in, it doesn't allow you to upload a document or anything. But just take that and write that explanation and then give them the exact numbers. That should be helpful.
Okay. If you received PPP and 1 and 2, draws 1 and 2, how does that affect your eligibility for this? Would that take away from your eligibility for this, or what?
Well,
I'm sorry.
it's priority. So if people that have never received any funding, they're going to look at those applications first. If there's a dollar still remaining, then they'll start looking at the applications where people did receive something.
Okay. And,
So-
and over what period of time should we expect to get a result, a response, a decision?
Yeah, that I'm not sure of. They've indicated that as they process these applications, you may hear a response back from them by November or so. But when you submit the application, they're gonna do that portal. You can always check your status to see what's going on with your application, as well as submit a request to ask what's going on with the application. So that portal is the streamlined open communication in case you do have questions.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mhm.
And there's another question that says, what if you haven't filed your 2020 tax returns? So they need your 2020 tax returns.
Yeah, that's the most important thing that they've indicated. They need the 2020 tax returns. Also, the question, if you were delinquent as it relates to your payroll taxes for 2019, if you're having to pay money back, they're not necessarily looking at that. They are looking at the actual returns and the information that's on your 2019 and your 2020. I would suggest that you submit the application and in the notes section, indicate what happened in 2019 or in 2020 so that at least they have detailed knowledge about what they are reviewing so they can make their decisions.
Yeah, and I would just add too, they're asking just for your federal tax returns.
Yes.
Okay.
What Tamora said, when you go to upload your tax returns, you can, since it's an uploadable document, you can put an explanation sheet or information attached to that. And that might be something that, Joy, maybe you can put that spreadsheet there when you upload your taxes with an explanation.
Okay, so the narrative is going to be imperative, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. So yeah, just add that sheet in an explanation when you upload your probably 20, either one, 19 or 2020 taxes. With it, 2020 probably, because that's where you had the jump in revenues. And
Right,
then,
right. I show them the other one compared to that one.
yeah, you're gonna see them both. And then just maybe do that additional explanation in that box they give you, and just reference that you included that explanation in your 2020 submission.
Thank you, Rhea. Thank you.
Hey, Joy, this is Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Hi, one of the things that's relevant for your situation is that, you know, you're dealing with two accounting system factors. One is accrual accounting and one is cash accounting, okay? So
Right.
make that point clear that on an accrual basis, you earn that money in 2019.
Right. Because you helped me on the second PPP. You know what? Thank you, Ray. And you know what? As I get into this, I may need to ask you a question or two. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank
The other thing with respect to whether or not, you know, you've gotten a PPP advance is whether or not, in terms of eligibility, has to do with whether or not you have received an exemption from having to reimburse it.
You mean on forgiveness?
Yes, forgiveness. So
Okay.
if you've been approved for that, then in essence, that counts as if you got a grant.
Okay. So does that mean that it eliminates you from?
You're still eligible.
No. Yeah.
But they're just, as Tamora said, they're given priority, as you can understand, to people who've never received anything, but you're still eligible. So don't not submit it, do submit it, but you just are, they're reviewing the other ones first.
Yep.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I would suggest any business, any solo entrepreneur, anybody that is currently operating or still running their business, apply for it anyway. It's better to not just assume, but apply for it, submit the information that they're requesting, and so they can review it, and then let them make a determination of if you're eligible or not, but also how much you will receive. So I would suggest submitting it, make notes in your application in detail. If there were any circumstances or situations that affected your funding flow, add that information in there, submit that in detail. So as they're reviewing your document, the less questions they have, the better, because now they can be able to see what your revenue flow was and the situation at the time. Okay. Any other questions? Is everybody okay? All right. If there are no more questions, we're going to end this call. We thank you guys for being a part and being with us on today. Also know our information, you'll see it there on the screen. If you need to contact us or reach out to us or send us an email, we're more than happy to assist you and help you. I would suggest that you actually go to that website. And so I'm going to go back to that page again. Go to the website, register first, okay? Go to the website, register first. Once you go to the website, create a login or sign up and go through the application, because the first few pages ask for general information. It is a fairly streamlined application. So go through the application, and then if you have any questions or challenges with anything, give us a call so that we can help navigate that. Again, this is an application. Once you sign up and you log in, then when you close out, it'll save your application. It'll give you an option to save. So when they save the application, If you don't get a chance to finish, you can always go back to the site and it will ask for your user ID and your password. You can pull it up and you can keep going and working on your application until you fully submit. So make sure that once you're done, you fully submit it. It will then give you notification. We have received your application. So if you don't get a notification, that means you haven't submitted it yet. So make sure that you get the notification, and also you can come back to the site to see the status of where you are and what they're doing, and if they've made any additional announcements related to the B2B. Okay. All righty. Well, thanks guys for joining us. We really appreciate you. We're here to assist you in whatever manner, and we look forward to you being successful in your grant application.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
I'll be calling you soon, Miss.
Okay. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.